There we go. Fab. So let's get cracking. So, hello everyone, and welcome to this is the final one of our evening kind of event briefings of the year because we've got our final event coming up. So yeah, this is the summer briefing for the Hurly Burly. And it's lovely to have you all join. Hopefully, we'll be able to kind of run you through a bit more of an understanding of the event, how it all works, and hopefully ease any nerves some of you might have. And we will, we're very excited to see you there in a couple of weeks now. So I will basically start by introducing us all. So I'm Katie. A few of you might have known me by now if you've done some events with us this year. I'm the event manager for Level Water. And then Jerry, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Jerry. Definitely recognise a few names, so hopefully some of you recognise me. I've been with Level Water for nearly 3 years now, and I work in marketing and communications. And I missed a trick not wearing my Hurly Burly jumper, which
Got
Katie is
mine
kindly
on.
modelling for us. Ben, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I would. Hello, everyone. I'm Ben. I am the events assistant here at Level Water. I have not been here as long as Jerry and Katie, coming up to my 5th or 6th month now. And yeah, you might recognise me if you've done a couple of swims this year. But I will be on the finish line greeting you all when you get out the River of the Hurly. So very looking forward to it.
I'm submitting a couple more people. Hi to those that have just quickly joined. So I am going to start by basically just showing you all the Google map. It shows you a bit about the locations of where you expect the swim to happen. So let me go on to my Google Maps. Hopefully you can all see this. So this link is on the Swimmer Hub. Oh, and that's probably worth me saying. I think Ben will just share a couple of links in the chat in a second. But all of this information that I'm going to go through today is actually on the Swimmer Hub, so you'll be able to find it all on there. I'm kind of just repeating it and chatting through it. So yes, this is the River Maldach, as you say it in Welsh, and you're going to have to forgive me for some of my pronunciations if they're a bit off in Welsh. And I'm just going to zoom in here to Barmouth. So this is where your swim starts. Barmouth is a lovely little coastal Welsh town, which has got the most beautiful drive in, if none of you have been there yet before. And if I zoom in a bit here, your swim start is basically on this bathhouse beach. So in this image, the tide is quite in, so the tide will probably be in line with. Can you see my mouse on this, Jerry and Ben? If you can nod, you can see my mouse. Okay. So yes, the tide will be roughly about here when you start, but you will start basically in the middle of this beach. So if I just go to the start of when you're arriving, most of you will be, your Google Maps will bring you in this direction. So you will follow this road and you'll have a beautiful view of the river before you arrive. This road, which is called the Quay here, will actually be closed for the event because we like to pedestrianize it for the event because there's a lot of people hanging around, a lot of people watching, and it just makes it a lot safer for everyone. But we've got traffic management on site and road closures, and they'll be redirecting you. And basically, you're just going to get redirected around the back of this car park, and this is your main parking spot. So tons of parking for everyone. It's pay and display, so you will need to pay for your parking on arrival. Make sure you do enough hours. And then this on Google Maps, this obviously looks just like a load of boats in a compound. It won't be quite as full of boats on the day of the swim. So this will be our event village. So this is where registration will be. This is where your bag drop will be. You'll be able to get teas and coffees that the yacht club are providing from their little boat house, which is this little building here. And then basically when it's ready to swim, Ian, our race director, will do his briefing within here. So he'll probably stand on the back of the van or on his little platform and he will do the swimmer briefing for you all here. I'll run through all these timings in a second, but I'm just doing locations for now. Once the briefing is done, you will all safely cross this road onto the promenade and you will just stroll up to the top of this beach here and down this slipway, which you will then basically all make your way down to the start funnel, which will be a little funnel here, which just means you kind of start one by one. So there isn't one big mass start, and it makes sure that you'll go over the timing mats. So that is basically the start. And the reason we don't put the swim route on this map for you is because it is a very, very wide river. And we don't want any of you to worry about the route that you're taking. We want you to just enjoy yourself, and all we can just say, and we will reiterate in this on the day briefing, is to just follow the instructions of the safety crew out there. But to give you a kind of brief way of how it will start, you will start on the beach here. Your natural instincts will be to obviously swim straight to the bridge, but you will be instructed to basically swim straight out to this point here, which is just past the breakwater, because this is where the flow of river will then take you through the bridge. If you swim this way, you've got the risk of kind of getting caught up between all the boats. So there will be one very strict straight line straight out into the main channel, which as soon as you hit that main channel, it is incredibly fast and you'll be kind of thrown basically through the bridge. And there is 2 very wide sections under the bridge, and you will be instructed to head through the right gap because it's just that little bit bigger. You will then basically swim. You can see on this Google map kind of the darker patches, but you will basically swim straight up past the old kind of harbour, which is what they call it. And then there's this beautiful building here called the Clock House. When you reach that, again, it's going to feel unnatural, but you are not going to just keep swimming up the river. You're going to take what's going to feel like a really sharp right-hand turn. And again, you don't need to worry about this. The water safety crew will instruct you. So you're basically heading to this adventure centre. Not that you can see that, you can just see a bit of land once you're in the river. And you're going to basically zigzag your way up in the deepest channels all the way up to the finish. But I'm not going to bother you too much with the route. And now it looks like my Google Maps isn't loading. There we go. And then eventually you'll kind of go through the narrows, again, just following instructions of all our water safety. And then you end up in a tiny little, I'm not even sure you can call it a village, but a collection of houses called Penman Pool. And you will finish on this beautiful little beach here. You will come around this, the tide will kind of bring you quite sharply around this corner. And then the tide will be wanting to kind of pull you a bit further up, but you'll be kind of taking a right and the water safety crew will be escorting you in. So you'll finish here, you'll get out on the beach, you'll go through your finish funnels, take your timing chips off, medical and everything will be there. You will come out, and then in the car park of this lovely pub called the George will be kind of our finish event village. You'll get your lovely hot chocolate. There will be a heated rewarming tent. Your bag collection will all be within a big marquee we've got in here. And then you'll be able to get food and drinks that the pub will be serving in their downstairs facilities. But if you're wanting to head straight off, or once you've had some food, there is no parking at all at this end. Obviously, we take up their car park with our marquee. So yeah, there is absolutely no parking at this end. So we ship you all basically back to Barmouth via bus. And that bus pickup is a tiny little walk, basically up to the bridge, up this little road, and there's a lay-by here that you can't see on here because it's covered by trees, but all the buses will pick you up from there and take you back. So that is basically the map of the layout. And if you have got any questions as we keep going through this, please just pop them in the chat on Zoom. And we will be able to just kind of, we'll answer them as we go, but if we kind of collect a few similar ones, I'll answer them at the end of this briefing. So now on to a bit of timings. Registration will be open on Thursday evening. So just to reiterate, this swim is on a Friday. It's not on a Saturday. The tides just are not quite high enough for Saturday to be worth it. So it's throwing us all off a little bit in the team as well, because normally we have a swim on a Saturday. So swim is on Friday, which means registration, we will open the evening before from 5 till 7 o'clock on Thursday evening. You do not have to attend this registration. We do this as just a really lovely thing to kind of see you all the night before, share the excitement, share the nerves. So that will be in that boatyard that I showed you on the map from 5 till 7. Then the yacht club, which is just round the corner, who own the boatyard that we've got the event village in, they'll be opening their bar and putting on a chili, so a meat chili and a veggie chili for everyone that you've got to pay for, but they do it at a very reasonable price. And we went last year and it was just so lovely to kind of have a drink with you all and catch up with you all and answer any queries you've got. And it's got a beautiful view up there as well of the river. So please come and join us if you can. But there is no pressure if you are not arriving until late. So then on to Saturday, we will be opening registration from 6:30 a.m. So please kind of try and arrive for 6:37ish, just so you allow yourself enough time to register. So registration will be open for about an hour and a half, and there's quite a lot of you to register, so please don't leave it till the last minute. And then around 8 o'clock, kind of 8:15, Ian will commence the swimmer briefing along with our water safety manager. And then at about 8:30, swimmers will start to enter the water. So between that briefing and the starting of the swim, we'll walk you all down the beach. We try and do this quite quickly because I know a lot of standing around and cold people is not ideal. So we'll try and do this fairly quickly and fairly sharp. If you just follow the instructions of everyone going down. But you will have had to leave your bag in the baggage van before you walk down onto the beach, and it can be very windy and very chilly there. So all of you that are in wetsuits will probably be absolutely fine. But last year we kind of carried a bucket down, or we'll probably carry a big bag. So for those of you that are swimming skins, if you are wanting to just keep a layer on and chuck it into one of the bins, or bags just before you get in the water, we will have that available for skin swimmers only. Because it's a lot for us to carry kind of 500 people's gear up the beach in order to get it to the end in time for you to collect. So yeah, the swims will start between 8:30 and 9, with the spectator coaches leaving Barmouth at 9 o'clock. So the spectator coaches, I should have just showed you on the map then, but the spectator coaches basically leave from the car park, on the road by the car park, and there'll be plenty of volunteers there giving you directions to your spectators. So the spectator coaches will leave at 9 o'clock, and that should get you to Penman Pool by 9:30 latest. For those of your swimmers that have bought, or if you've bought tickets for the coaches, then great. I think you've got until the 30th of September, so next week, in order to purchase some extra tickets if you haven't bought them already. I might be told that that's wrong, but I think the 30th of September is when the cutoff is for buying coach tickets. But don't panic. If not, if you can't have last minute spectators that want to come, they'll be able to purchase tickets and board the coaches on the day. It just helps having a bit of an idea of how many people we're transporting beforehand. And then, yep, so you should all arrive at Penman Pool by 9:30. And we expect our first swimmer to finish at about 9:45. We were astounded by how quickly this happened last year. So yes, that is a 10K swim with our fastest swimmer expecting to do it in about an hour and 15 minutes. And then based on last year's tide and speed of the water, we expect everyone else to be finished by 10:30. So that is about 2 hours from the first person getting in the water. Don't panic. If you're on this going, there's no way I'll do it that quickly. Firstly, you will be surprised at how much the tide takes you, but we have got plenty more time if you do take longer than that. That is just based on last year's timings that we got our first swimmer in within an hour and 15 minutes and our last swimmer in about 2 hours. So yes, first swimmer expected 9:45 with our last one at 10:30. But basically at 10 a.m., the first wave of coaches will start taking swimmers back to the start. We hope some of you will kind of stick around, have a drink with us at Penman Pool, but we understand a lot of you might have plans and need to get off. So the coaches will start running from 10 a.m. And they will be every 15 minutes basically for 3 hours. So they will run till about 1 p.m. So that gives lots of people plenty of time to grab some food and hang out and just have a lovely time with us. Um, if you've got any queries on the day about anything, please just come and see us at registration. Come and see us the night before or on the day. So baggage. You can either leave bags with your supporters if you've got supporters coming, or we've got our bag drop facility. So our bag drop facility is basically the back of a van. You give it to our volunteers, you attach your baggage tag to it, and we bring it up to the end for you. You have to be able to label your bag, which is provided in your registration, in your race pack. And yeah, we ideally ask for no more than a 4 kilo bag, because if we have a lot of bags on there, it can be quite hard. We've only got a short amount of time that we can unload. We'll load and unload that baggage van. So if you've got spectators coming, it might be better to give the bag to you, because they can probably make it down onto the beach for the start. You can give them your stuff really last minute, and then they'll be able to find you at the end rather than you having to go through the bag collection process. But it is fairly straightforward. Like I said, food and drink, refreshments. There'll be food and drink available to purchase from the yacht club at the event village. They've been a huge support in getting kind of this event back off the ground after quite a big gap when we finally brought it back last year. So they'll be supporting over the weekend. So like I said, on Thursday night, they'll be opening up the bar and cooking up a chili from 5 till 8 p.m. And then on the morning of the swim, they will be putting on they'll have teas and coffees. It will be very basic. You're not going to get your fancy cappuccinos or flat whites, I'm afraid. But they will be providing teas and coffees from the little boat house, which is right next to the event village. Last year it was cash only because they hadn't got card machines sorted, but I actually went and saw them last week. I took Ben up with me and we did a bit of a site visit and went and met everyone. And I think they will have sorted their kind of card machine payment via phone out by then. But if you are relying on that cup of tea or coffee, maybe just bring some cash just in case. There is no changing tents available at the start. So please kind of arrive ready to swim. The car park is obviously right next to the event village. So we do just suggest you kind of get changed in your cars if possible. It's really hard to pin down structures at Barmouth because it can be quite breezy and it is all basically concrete apart from on the beach. So putting up structures is just an extra risk for us. So we do just advise get changed in your cars if possible. Worst comes to worst, get changed in the portaloos, but they're not that big and your car might just be a little bit easier anyway. Your race pack, so your swimmer pack envelope that you pick up, in that pack will be a numbered wristband, which must be worn. There'll be a numbered baggage tag in there for if you're using the bag drop facility. There'll be a skin swimmer wristband, if applicable. So if you've applied to swim skins, there will be a skin swimmer's wristband available to you to wear. You will have a timing chip that is to be worn around your ankle. If you're wearing a wetsuit, ideally kind of tuck it underneath the wetsuit leg. But if you're not, don't worry too much. It just helps secure it a little bit better. And then you'll get your Hurly Burly swim hat. And then there will be some extra fun stickers in there for you too. I'm just going to admit a couple more people into here. Sorry, just give me a sec. Great, that should be everyone admitted, I think, again. Thanks to those that have just joined. Sorry if you've missed some bits. We've just been going through some timings. But this is all being recorded, so we will share this with you all afterwards. I'm nearly there, I promise. Well, I'm about halfway through. So what to bring? Bring your usual swim kit. No fins, toe floats, or headphones, please. If you've got a specific need for a toe float, like you need to carry medication, please just drop us an email at swim@levelwater.org and we will review and get back to you. The reason for no toe floats is just because it doesn't help our safety crew being able to keep an eye on you. They're much more able to keep a safer eye on you just looking for your very brightly green coloured swim hat. If we suddenly have a mixture of different coloured toe floats in the water, it doubles the things they're looking out for in the water. So that's the reason for that. What else to bring? A small bag for baggage. If you haven't registered to swim in skins and been approved, please bring your wetsuit, because if you've not been approved, you will not be able to swim without a wetsuit on. Bring lots of warm clothes, bring a water bottle. There'll be water available there for you to refill. Then a bit onto the safety measures of the swim. There'll be masses of support crew out on the water, a mixture of kind of paddleboards, kayaks, boats, jet skis, and they'll be all throughout the course, and you will always be able to see them during the course. If you get into trouble, they'll give you a full safety briefing on the morning, so don't worry too much. But basically, if you ever get into trouble, you just lie on your back and pop your arm in the air, and there'll be someone over with you very quickly. But if you just need a break, you'll be able to kind of rest on a paddleboard. The water flows very fast. You will not stop still. You will continue moving. But yeah, there'll be plenty of them out there able to look after you. Medical, we will have medical at the start and the finish, and they will also make their way up basically the side of the river as you swimmers kind of make your way up, just so they are as near as possible. But there will be a full medical assistance at the end. If you've got anything that needs looking at or need any help, they will be there to support you. We do expect quite a few of you to be a little cold, so we've got lots of facilities in place to try and warm you up as quick as possible. And then the finish. Basically, when you emerge from the river at the George pub, you will arrive on a small beach. And like I said, there'll be food, drinks, hot chocolate with your finisher's mug. And then, like we said, if you've got supporters meeting you there, it might be worth trying to get some warm clothes to them, because they'll be able to get to you quicker than you would if you went to the bag collection facility. And yeah, like I said, the coaches will be leaving the coaches back to Barmouth will be leaving between 10 and 1. And I can't reiterate enough, please do not head to Penman Pool by car. If you head to Penman Pool by car, you will not be able to park and you'll get turned away. So really important that you only park in Barmouth and use our coach facilities. Address for the car park, it will be on the swimmer hub. So it is just the main car park in Barmouth. You can't really miss it. And like I said, it's pay and display. We do encourage car sharing. So join the Facebook group. I'm sure Ben can pop a link to that in this chat. And you might be able to find people you can share lifts with. Swimmers with access requirements, we like our swims to be as accessible for all as possible. So if you noted on your registration that you have any accessibility needs, Ben should have been in touch with you this week. But if you've got any concerns, again, just drop us an email at swim@levelwater.org and we'll be able to help you and make a plan with you to make your swim as fun as possible. And then just a little bit more medical. Please, if you've got any concerns about your medical fitness to participate, please consult that with your GP before taking part. And if you have been diagnosed with a heart condition since the point of signing up, we please ask you not to swim. This is for your own safety, and cold water can be a little bit sneaky. So yeah, if you've got any concerns, just consult your GP. Finally, from me, before I just have a look at the chat to see if there's any questions, we are really in need of volunteers for this event. So if you've got any of your friends, family, coming along to support you, we could really do with your help. It's a really difficult one for us. Normally, for example, our dart event and our Bantam event are 2-dayers. So we have a lot of people that volunteer the Saturday, swim the Sunday, and vice versa. With this one only being a 1-dayer, we have loads of lovely volunteers coming to help us set up the day before, but we are really struggling on the day. It is not a long shift at all. It's kind of a 6 till 11, so 4 or 5 hours. It's really good fun, and we just need your help basically on registration to register all you swimmers, on the bag drop, and we will try and make sure, those of you that can help, that we can get you up to the finish line in order to meet your swim. We can't promise, but yeah, if you have got any friends or family that can, if your friends and family volunteer, it means you get priority entry into any of our events next year. So it doesn't necessarily mean to be for them. You can kind of volunteer them to volunteer for you in order to get those benefits. So yeah, if you've got any friends and family you can encourage, Ben has popped the chat in the chat, the link to volunteer here is there. I think that is everything. I'm just going to have a look at the chat and see if there's any questions. Yes, if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat now and I will answer. Jerry will do a little bit on fundraising and then I will answer any last minute questions. Any recommendations for those disorganized amongst us who haven't worked out accommodation yet? There is quite a lot of places in Barmouth that do accommodation. There's lots of B&Bs, everything. I haven't obviously had a look recently to see if there is any accommodation available. I imagine it's quite busy, but have a look on booking.com or Airbnb is probably the best shout. See if you can get accommodation. Thanks, Nicole, for sending some. Oh, and Sean's actually said exactly what I've just said. Water temperature. I think someone has kindly answered this for us. It is cold, but we are still in the kind of warmest period of water temperatures. I think at the moment is at about 16 degrees, but that is the sea temperature. So basically, because we are in the beautiful Snowdonia, that means there are lots of lovely big mountains around us. So at some point when you are swimming up the river, you will then hit a burst of river water, which is river water that has come off the tops of the mountains and filtered downstream. So you will kind of, the warmest the water will be is when you start, and it will only get colder from there. We expect it to drop kind of by the time you get to the end, we do expect it to drop to about 11, 12 degrees. So it is chilly. So yeah, if you are not comfortable swimming in those temperatures, please wear a wetsuit, just for your own enjoyment. Links to swim holes have been popped in. How many swimmers are taking part? We've got about 450 signed up, I think. Jerry might tell me that's wrong, maybe just slightly less. But we're hoping for kind of 450, 500. Can we bring our own swim caps? And is there a colour requirement? You can bring your own swim cap, but you have to wear the swim cap we provide you over the top of it. We need everyone to be in the bright green that we provide everyone with, and it obviously makes amazing photos too. But it is for your safety. You have to wear the swim hat we provide. We are more than happy. I know a lot of you kind of maybe wear those wetsuit swim hats to keep your head a little bit warmer. So you can wear our swim hat over your own if that is okay. When will we hear back about which day we're volunteering? Tim, who is our volunteer manager, I will give him a nudge. He should send it. He'll be sending out information hopefully by the end of this week. It's normally 2 weeks out. So he'll be sending kind of a brief overview by the end of this week. How much of the swim is in rough, turbulent water? Really dependent on the wind on this one. So Ben and I actually took one of the yacht club boats out last week up the river just so I could kind of show him the route. We could kind of see if it had changed a little bit. And it really depends first in the direction of the wind. Because if you've got wind over tide, it's coming towards you, it's quite splashy, and that can be quite challenging. There are obviously limits to which we can safely swim up to. If the wind is coming from behind you, it's not quite as bad because you're kind of going with the waves. So we do expect naturally the start of the swim is likely to be the choppiest part because it's nearer the coast. But we did see Snowdonia is just wild. And Ben and I kind of, when we were up there last week, it was fairly still to start with. And then we kind of came through quite a choppy patch. Then we kind of hit where the river water was kind of meeting the sea. It is fascinating. So yeah, I can't guarantee which parts of the river will be choppier than others, but the start is definitely likely to be the choppiest. Can you wear neoprene swim boots, socks? Yep, you can wear as many layers as you want. We encourage all the neoprene, so please wear as much neoprene as you like. Are we starting in groups based on speed like at the Dark 10K? No, because we have quite a few less swimmers and we've obviously got a much wider start area. You'll basically all trickle in. So there are no waves. Everyone will kind of start from 8:30. So you will go through a little funnel. And we do encourage, I've got to remind myself now, we encourage the faster swimmers off first so that the slower swimmers obviously aren't being caught up by the faster swimmers. So we will encourage you into the water based on your swim speed. Ian will reiterate that and confirm that on the day because I can't remember off the top of my head, but that makes the most sense to me. And he will just encourage you in slowly. So we're not doing one mass start, so you're not all scrambling on top of each other, but everyone will start technically in the same wave. And what's the salt like? Is it salt water? Yeah, Nicole, thank you for answering that one. The start is salty. It's seawater, basically fully seawater where you start, but that salt will reduce as you get up the river and hit the cold river water. So as soon as that water starts getting colder, you know the salt content of that water is reducing. Are there any sighting aids? This will be explained to you a little bit more in the briefing. We don't like to give you too many sighting aids in advance because it can be very confusing. When you're in that water, you naturally think, well, I'm heading straight up there. But that river does not work like that. It meanders as you go up. So your 10K swim is in the deepest channels of that river. So we don't like to, you will probably be told in the briefing when you hit the clock house, you're taking a sharp right to the other side of the river. Apart from that, you basically want to follow the instructions of the safety crew. How clear is the water? Pretty clear, isn't it, Ben? I mean, I was driving the boat last week, so I wasn't really looking down too much, but it is beautiful. It's sand, so it filters the water really well. So yeah, I'd say as far as rivers go, it is pretty clear. Ben, I don't know if you've got anything more to add to that one. No. Cool. That seems to be the end of the questions. I'm just going to hand over to Jerry, who is just going to give you a little bit more information on us as Level Water and what your fundraising and entry fees go towards. And then if you've suddenly got any more questions while she's doing this bit, pop them in the chat and I will summarize at the end and answer any of those questions. Thanks all. Over to you, G.
Ah, there we go. Thank you. I just saw one more question pop up. Is there any water available to drink along the way? We don't have feed stations at this swim. It is a very fast swim. I don't know, Katie, if you wanted to add anything to that.
Yeah, basically unlike the dart where we have feed stations on there, the dart is although it's the same distance swim, it is a much longer swim because there's not so much tidal assistance. And with the dart, we've got the benefit of being able to anchor feed stations down. This is completely sand. So anchoring a feed station is near impossible, especially with the winds that we experience here compared. So there isn't any water to drink along the way, but you will be surprised at how quick the swim happens. So you're not going to be out there for 3-4 hours. Like I said, our most leisurely, we don't like that word, our slowest swimmer last year, most leisurely swimmer last year, finished within 2 hours. So just have a good drink before you start, and then there'll be water available to you as soon as you finish.
Great. Yeah, people do sometimes tuck energy gels and things like that into their wetsuits as well. So, if there's things that you want to tuck inside, that is absolutely fine. Right. Okay. I'm just going to speak to you a little bit about Level Water and give you a bit more of a background on the charity because some of you probably know a bit more than others. Actually taking part in the Hurly Burly is a lot bigger than just doing a swim. It's going to be an amazing experience for everyone doing it, but it's just so much bigger than just one event. All of our profits and fundraising help fund one-to-one swimming lessons for children with disabilities, and we work in pools all over the UK. So we do have some charity fundraising tickets where people are also fundraising and donating money for Level Water, but all of the profits from our general entry tickets as well kind of go back into the charity. So, you're helping to open up a lifetime of freedom, confidence, and joy in the water for thousands of kids now all over the UK. I think, in total, we've got quite a few swimmers, like Katie said, around 450 swimmers this year. So you'll be swimming together, and there'll be tens of thousands of pounds made for all the children that are swimming in pools this year as well. Um, Level Water started in 2012 at a pool in Putney. So yeah, really, really small beginnings. And thanks to people like you, we now have thousands of children swimming. And we've got over 300 pools, teaching around 70,000 lessons each year. But the demand is far greater than the lessons we provide. Our waiting list has grown to around 4,000 children. So, to give you context, for every child that swims with level water, there's another 4 children on their waiting list. And that's just growing all the time. On our waiting list, 4 out of 5 of those children don't meet physical activity guidelines. That's something that we got from a survey that we did recently. So basically, what that means is that there's not a lot of sports these children can do. We provide lessons for children with sight impairments, physical disabilities. Some of them have SEN needs like autism or ADHD. There's actually, really difficult to enroll those children into tennis or football or, other kinds of sports. But swimming is really the most accessible sport. It's something that, everybody can kind of get in the water and splash around kind of to some point. So a lot of the children who aren't able to access swimming aren't really getting any physical activity anywhere else either. Half of the children on a waiting list have tried to access lessons 3 or more times. That means their parents have applied for lessons and been told by the pool, no, sorry, your child is too disabled. I'm really sorry, we can't help them here. They really can't join a group class, so there's nothing we can do. So the mainstream group lessons don't meet disabled children's needs, whereas the private one-to-one sessions can be really expensive or just not available. So with your help, we're helping to build a future where every child gets equal opportunity to play, move and grow through swimming. Over the next couple of weeks is when we see fundraising really take off. So we see a really big spike in donations just before the swim. So, if you are fundraising with a charity place, now is the time to get your asks out there. I think especially for the Hurly Burly, it's a really fast, furious, cold, it is a big river challenge. So it's a great opportunity to tell your friends and family, hey, look, I'm doing a 10K swim. I've been doing all this training. I'm getting out there in cold water. Share a little video, really personalize your experience. And if you're not feeling super confident, that's fine. That's what makes it real. Just speak from your heart. And I think people really understand where you're coming from. We get a lot of people email us in the run up to these events saying, oh, I haven't trained as much as I like. And, work's been really busy, or I got ill and I haven't been able to do as much as I wanted. We have some skin swimmers come to us and say, oh, hey, I think I'm going to wear a wetsuit now because I just haven't had as much cold water as exposure as I wanted. All of those things are absolutely fine. Those nerves are what make us human. And I think, especially when you're fundraising for a really great cause, it's really kind of really nice to kind of personalize those experiences. If you're not sure where to start, WhatsApp is a really brilliant tool. It's so personal, it's really easy, and you can write one message. I was fundraising for our Shepperton World Swim Relay a couple of years ago, and I use the WhatsApp broadcast function on my phone because you can write the message once and you can send it to lots of individuals, and they'll get that as an individual message rather than, in group chats. It's easier to scroll past it. So have a look at your Just Giving page as well. You can pop a quick post or thank you message in there, just to keep the momentum going. And the more you share, the more support that will roll in. And it's not just about, the fundraising donations, it's also about moral support, keeping in touch with your network, and, people will be kind of, on your team and wanting to see how it goes. We got loads of resources you can use as well, videos, photos, stories of children swim in the pools that we work with. In the fundraiser hub, you'll find the fundraiser hub. Ben can pop it in the chat for you now, but you will find the fundraiser hub through your swimmer dashboard as well if you need to get there. And if you do have a general entry ticket and you'd like to raise some money for Level Water, you're more than welcome to use the fundraiser hub and set up your Just Giving page in there as well, and just know that you're being part of something bigger. Also, we have some amazing prizes this year. So, Vivo Barefoot will match your first £15 donation if you would like to set up a page or if you're just setting up your charity page now. And that means that your first £15 will be one swimming lesson. And when they match it, you'll have provided two swimming lessons for that £15. We do have some bigger fundraising prizes as well. We've got a red paddleboard for our overall fundraiser from all of our river swims. And we've got dry bags from Red as well. We've got goggles from Swans. We've got Swim Trek who've donated a holiday. And the top fundraiser will receive a Zone 3 wetsuits. So thank you to all of our generous sponsors for our prizing this year. Yeah, you could be in with a chance to win those. I'm sure Ben's probably popped a link in the chat there, but I can pop another link in as well if you can see it with the prizes on, so you can have a look for yourselves about what you can win. Right, I would really like to read you a very quick story from a little boy that I met last year. So I do quite a lot of the pool visits myself, and one of the things that fundraisers always ask us, we say like, oh, we've got all these great prizes, what do you want? What can we do? This year we had milestone prizes. So, every time somebody hits £125, they get a few bits of goodies in the post. And then when they hit their target, they get a few more goodies. And then we have our big ticket prizes. But when we ask people what they really want, some people say, we don't want the prizes. We want to come to a pool and we want to meet the children. We want to see where the money goes because it's such a good cause and it's making a huge difference in these kids' lives. And it's unfortunately not really possible for us to take all of our fundraisers to a pool to visit the children. I think the children would get a lot of visitors. So big part of my job is making sure that I can get out to pools, I can meet those children, I can talk to their parents, I can learn their stories, I can take pictures, I can take videos, and I can share all of that with you guys. So yeah, this was a story from a pool that I went to visit earlier in the year before it was event season. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to share this one with you. So when Evan first arrived at the Link Centre, he was quiet, he is completely nonverbal, and he has no way to communicate. He's been diagnosed with autism, and he had tried mainstream swimming lessons, but the centre quickly realised they couldn't meet his needs. So for a little bit of context as well, it's only been the last year or so that we've been able to support children with SEND needs. We have always supported children with physical disabilities, sight and hearing impairments, but we've now opened our programme up to children with autism and ADHD, so children like Evan. Thankfully, the pool referred him to Level Water. His mum says, Evan is autistic and non-verbal. He needed the one-to-one support. Level Water was the only programme that could offer that. Since then, Evan has made amazing strides. The water, which he already loved, has become a place of connection and growth. He's now beginning to follow instructions from his teacher, and for a child with no verbal communication, that is a huge step. His mum says he really enjoys swimming, and it's been so lovely to see him engaging in his own way. I even dream that someday he might be a professional swimmer, or at least swim for his own joy. At Level Water, children like Evan aren't just included, they're understood. Every lesson is tailored to the individual with skilled teachers like Sarah, who make learning not only possible but joyful. Sarah's been wonderful with Evan. Having someone who truly cares makes all the difference. And that difference is made possible by people like you. Every £15 raised funds one-to-one swimming lesson, one chance for a child like Evan to connect, to move and to thrive. Hopefully, Mum says, hopefully you'll reach even more children like Evan. Every child deserves this opportunity. The water is where Evan is beginning to express himself. It's a place where he's not defined by what he can't do, but by how far he's come. So thanks, Ben. You pop the stories in there. I will just pop Evan's story in the chat for you if you wanted to have a read. And there's quite a few more on there if you want to read about the different children that we support. I think the important thing is that they're all individuals, and we basically train those teachers, and a lot of their training is, you need to be able to move with the child and understand the child, find out what the child likes and really move with them. There is no cookie cutter. This is how you teach a child with a disability. They are all unique. They're all special. And we put, yeah, a lot of thought and time into making sure that those children are taken care of. I think that's all for me. Is there any questions on fundraising or the charity, or would anyone like to know any more?
Yeah, any questions you've got about any of what we've chatted through tonight, just chuck them in. We'll keep it open for a couple more minutes and then we will let you all get back to your evenings. But thank you all so much for joining. And yeah, this, like I said, this is being recorded and we will upload it to, well, our YouTube channel, and then we'll post the link onto the Facebook group tomorrow. So you can share that with any of your friends that might have been taking part but weren't able to join us this evening. Doesn't look like any more questions coming in. So, oh, just thank yous. You are more than welcome. We are really excited to see you. 2 more weeks, season finale. Yeah, we're super, super excited. And the weather looks like, I mean, it's a bit too far out at the moment, but they had been having a lot of rain, but it looks like we're having a couple of dry weeks from now on. So we'll see. But I know Wales weather can be a little bit different. But yeah, really excited to see you all. Come and say hello when you see us on the day. And yeah, can't wait to see you. So we will call that a day here. So thanks so much, everyone. Take care.